Yesterday, we told you about Eminem's record-setting numbers with the debut of his new CD, The Eminem Show.
See, for the past 2 years, I put out a fucking album. I got arrested. I got divorced. I got fucking arrested. I got out. I got off.
And there's certain things that end up on my albums that push more buttons than I thought was going to. Really? So like it's kind of unpredictable. There was somebody who looked like them that was saying all the that they wanted to say, but wasn't able to really maybe put it in words.
With the new Eminem song dropping and an album on the horizon, it made me take a look back at some of his work and remember why he's praised as one of the best to touch the mic. The Eminem Show was the 4th studio album from the Detroit MC and the 3rd album of his Persona trilogy. The Eminem Show sees Shady take a step back, looking at the major success of his first 2 albums and the impact it had on him and those in his circle. It's the first time he is deciding to really embrace the superstar he had become and all the issues that come along with it. This is one of my favorite albums, so I thought I would dive into some facts about the best-selling album of 2002. The Eminem Show was inspired by The Truman Show. It's said that Eminem took the 1998 comedy and was inspired enough by it to create his own version and call it The Eminem Show. For those who don't know, The Truman Show is a movie starring Jim Carrey, where his character is the only person in his life and in the world who doesn't know his life is a TV show. And at the time, M felt like his life was becoming a circus and that everybody was watching him.
The concept of the album is my life on blast. Like a show, like my life is a show. Sometimes I don't know where my private life ends and my public life begins. It all seems to blend together a lot. So sometimes I feel like that. I feel like there's nothing that I can do that is not wrote about, at least at this time in my life.
In September 2001, Eminem was out in Highland Park, Detroit, filming his movie 8 Mile, in between creating The Eminem Show and crafting D12's Devil's Night album.
Put out a D12 album.
Huh? People know that.
Huh? How about that? It's called Devil's Night. And if you don't got it, which you don't, then go fucking buy it.
8 Mile has since been listed as one of the first blockbuster movies to be set in the Motor City. M's pen was definitely working overtime this year, and it paid off greatly because all 3 projects did well. Eminem chose a less comedic and shock factor lyrical approach to prove that he can still sell records without it. It was argued by critics that Eminem was only popular because of his controversial lyrics and shock value. He said he kept that in mind when creating and toned it down a little bit for the Eminem Show to let people know that he was an actual artist who was here to stay and he didn't need to use shock value as a crutch.
Every artist, like, if you're a true artist, you gotta grow. Otherwise, forget it. Like, if you sound the same on your last album, and that's what I mean by, like, I don't want to disappoint the fans as far as, like, if your music doesn't grow, forget it. You might as well stop making music. Because that's how artists lose their momentum in their career, and how people stop caring about them is when they don't grow. When they sound, you put their new album in and you can't tell the difference from their last album.
The Eminem Show's Cleaning Out My Closet really had no snare. A metronome is a device that produces an audible click that artists sometimes use to stay on beat when recording. If not a metronome, some artists will also use the snare in a beat to do the same thing. So when Cleaning Out My Closet, when M says,
Where's my snare?
That's him calling for his engineer to put the snare back before the beat drops so he doesn't run off or run behind. In an interview, he confirmed this was true, saying last minute his engineer had muted it, but he had to leave it. In later interviews, he mentioned how he used the snare or a metronome because he felt like in his old flows, he was running behind the beat, trying to catch up. The Eminem Show solidified M as a producer. Another critique M was getting during his run was that he would never be as successful as he was if he didn't have Dre's production behind him. Dr. Dre, who was responsible for helping a heavyweight list of artists, it wasn't a surprise why this critique was said. His track record definitely spoke for itself. But with the Eminem Show, an album with 15 songs and 5 skits changed that narrative. It was self-produced by Shady, with the exception of 3 songs. My Dad's Gone Crazy, Say What You Say, and Business.
Every song that I produce, I try to outdo the last one. If I don't outdo the last one, then I usually don't like it as much. Because if I really like a song and I feel good about it, I'll keep listening to it. I've always produced or co-produced my shit. And that's only because I feel like a lot of times I'll write a rap first and I'll get the idea in my head of how the beat should go. It's like, I always know how I want the beat to go. So I figure who's better to do it than me? Why wouldn't I do my own shit?
Till I Collapse was never released as a single, but the song was so huge that it made constant appearances on the charts. The Nate Dogg assisted track became a staple in a lot of weight rooms and workout playlists, a lot of pregame playlists for athletes, and even in commercials, like it was for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I personally remember this being in so many sports highlight tapes or in our locker room before the games. It definitely went platinum with us. In the same year, the Eminem Show dropped. M and Dre signed 50 Cent. Now imagine a year that was. You're working on 2 albums, the Eminem Show and D12's album, working on a blockbuster movie. All 3 do extremely well the year that they drop. And that same year, you signed 50 Cent, who had the biggest hype behind him at the time, and went on to drop Get Rich or Die Trying, which sold 12 million albums in 2003. That Interscope camp was eating real good during their run. From Dr. Dre to Eminem to 50 Cent alone, man, they were definitely living good. Now, there are only 3 songs from the Eminem Show that made it to the curtain call Greatest Hits collection, with this album being labeled as one of M's classic albums. It's interesting that only 3 songs made it to his hits collection. It shows how deep his catalog is. But after an underwhelming performance from Encore in 2004, in 2005, Shady dropped his Curtain Call's Greatest Hits collection, which featured his top songs, Only Grabbing Sing for the Moment, Without Me, and Cleaning Up My Closet from the Eminem Show.
Eminem recently said that he thinks his 2004 album Encore would have gone on to be as respected as the Eminem Show had the project not leaked beforehand. Encore took a whole different trajectory because Encore was during my addiction. I was realizing I'm getting addicted to these pills. I was just coming off the Eminem Show and the 8 Mile soundtrack, and I started recording, and I had 7 or 8 songs that were very much in the vein of what I do. But we ended up putting them out as a bonus disc because the songs got leaked. If those hadn't leaked, Encore would have been a much different album.
The Eminem Show sold 285,000 copies in its first week. But when I looked more into this, I saw that the SoundScan that recorded these numbers showed that the album dropped on a premature release date, so this number was only 1 day of record sales.
Eminem, your album was initially supposed to come out tomorrow, June 4th, but you moved the date up. Tell us why and what happened with bootlegging and internet.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of confusion that was going on. We had a release date. The original date was May 28th, and then it was June 4th. It got pushed back a week because they wanted the setup time and everything, and enough time for everybody to know that it's coming out. And then it got bootlegged, and then we had to backpedal and release it early. I don't know.
The Eminem Show was originally slated to be released June 4th, but because so many copies are being illegally downloaded off the internet, that date was moved up to yesterday, May 28th. Then last Friday, Interscope suddenly announced it would be in stores even earlier on Memorial Day weekend. Did all the confusion hurt sales? Not a chance. Becoming the first CD ever to debut at #1 without the benefit of a full week of sales, the Eminem Show sold almost 300,000 copies in only a day and a half. Count them. That's 36 hours.
The following week, the album jumped in sales to a massive 1.3 million copies. It is said to be the 7th great first week sales recorded. And when I looked into the top first week sales in hip-hop, the Marshall Mathers LP and the Eminem Show were top 2. 50 Cent and The Massacre take number 3. Drake's Views had number 4. And Lil Wayne's Card 3 rounds at the top 5. So it's all great company. The Eminem Show sits as a classic in M's discography and let people know that he can hold his own on the mic and through production. He really made it a point to get better at his craft, and it shows through his interviews when you can still hear the love he has for the music and for the lyricism.
That's the beauty to me of the craft of emceeing. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that's important to you? Hell yeah. Yeah, because it's and I know it's important to you because it's what makes rap fun, right? Right. So sometimes we might be in the mood to like not to write a song that might not have a message to it. Right. Might not really be saying anything that's important. Right. But it's more about the craft, and we're just trying to go as hard as we can go, you know? And I think that to me is what makes it fun. Right. Is being able to, you know, when you thought of hey, bro, I'll go ham for dead presidents. Like, you feel something, right? When you think of that, you're like, oh shit. Like, oh shit, that's kind of ill. Okay, yeah. All right, let me figure this out. Let me sit down with this scheme and figure it out.
And as long as he has that passion about what he does, I'm here to listen to any track that he drops. And that's all I have for you today. I appreciate you watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing, man. It always means a lot. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.